Just to finish about speaking about paradigms and paradigm shifts. Paradigms we spoke about. Paradigm shift, right, it's the way that we perceive the world. Paradigm shift, we said, was introduced by Thomas Kuhn in the book called The Structure of Scientific Revolution. Last class, we ended off with saying anyone who wants to have a paradigm shift, aka shift the way they perceive and understand the world, it first starts with a break of old tradition. It starts with a break of old ways of thinking, okay? I don't want to go more into it, unless you have questions about it. Pretty simple, right? Okay. On the sheet that you have, these are just two examples that I gave of paradigm shifts where we see it in the Torah. One is with Adam and Chava, and the other one is with Yitzchak, right? Adam and Chava, what happened after they ate from the tree that they were from the fruit that they were not supposed to eat from? What happened?
They felt unconscious about their nakedness.
Thank you. They felt self-conscious. All of a sudden they realized, and that's where body images stem from. I'm kidding. And all of a sudden they realized that they were naked, right? That was an entire shift of paradigm. That was an entire shift of reality. All of a sudden, why weren't they embarrassed of their bodies before?
They didn't know, like they didn't realize like there was like an immodesty issue.
Yeah, it wasn't. What'd you say?
The perspective that they had that it was completely normal. There was nothing.
Right, it's not shameful, right? Nudist colonies try and like copy this, but they forget that we kind of move past it. Now we understand that body is something. Not that it's shameful. Bodies are not shameful, right? But they understood we are all souls. That's our identity. How would I define myself? I am a soul, okay? And then that's how they saw themselves. So when Adam saw Chava's body parts, when Chava saw Adam's body parts, it wasn't a bad thing. You're a soul. So, you know, it's the same thing, intimacy with the husband and wife. Like, our bodies, it's one. However, after the sin, after the chait, then the bodies, they realized, one moment, I'm also physical. That was a shift in paradigm. Is that clear? Another example is when Yitzchak, when Yaakov comes to give the korban, the sacrifice he brought to his father Yitzchak. What happens? Who remembers? Who recalls the story? Yaakov stole Esav's blessing. How'd that happen? He dressed up as him. It doesn't say what he did. I'm sorry, but he put on hands, right? Hairy hands, and Yitzchak's response is Hakol Kol Yaakov. The voice is the voice of Yaakov. Vayadayim Midei Esav. But the hands are the hands of Esav, right? His mother told him to do it, and then he understood. Then Esav came in from the field, and his father, he said, Dad, I want my blessing. And all of a sudden it said Yitzchak trembled. He's like, 1 second, whoever got the blessing, they shall be blessed. A very deep Torah, right? But not for now. But all of a sudden he realized, one moment, what just happened? Oh, this is what just happened. If my wife just told him to do this, I must have had my understanding of Esav wrong the whole time. I thought these are funny, right? These two pictures on bottom. One is when you take the blind man and the elephant, right? So you put an elephant there, and similar to the picture we have with the young woman and the old woman, you take the elephant, they're like, it's a rope, like tugging his tail. They're like, no, it's a tree trunk, as they're like shaking the foot. Then they're like, it's a snake, when they're like touching the, what's it called? The trunk, thank you. It's a spear, right? And different places that they're touching, depending on what you're looking from, depending on which perspective you're coming from, they're seeing different things. I put a few lines up here that I thought were nice, which were the significant problems we face cannot be solved at the same level of thinking we were when we created them, right? You cannot try and solve a problem with the same brain that created it. Meaning, you need to look at a different way of seeing it, a different way of thinking about it, okay? We see the world not as it is, but as we are. However we see the world, that's how we interpret and perceive it. You can read the rest later. The second sheet that you have, that you can share together, we'll go over it for a little bit of time. So actually hold off on the sheet for one moment, okay? So it's very clear that shift in paradigm. That makes sense, okay? So then what should our paradigm be? Let me ask you. What should then our paradigm be? I understand what a paradigm is. I understand there's something called shifting it. What should I be shifting it to? What should my paradigm be based on?
Maybe yourself.
Myself, what do you mean?
Like your personality, your core belief system, and like what you think is right. And
morals.
Nice. What else? Any other ideas? How about everyone gives an answer? Because you all have a paradigm. So what is it based on?
Values, some sort of double-checked, long-standing values.
Double-check, solid foundation of values. I like it.
Then where do your values come from? It all depends on maybe where you grow up or how you perceive the world. So
We're not saying what they are. We're saying what should they be based on.
your values.
No, what should the paradigm be based on? She's saying the values. Experiences. Our values should be based on our experiences. I mean, our principles and paradigms should be based on our experiences.
Like to give you just like knowledge about how things work, outlooks on things from experiences.
Just understand, you're saying my paradigm, say it with confidence, you're saying my paradigm should be based on the experiences that I've had in life. That should formulate the way that I see the world.
Like just how you see the world work is gonna, give you a paradigm, and then it can shift, probably shift all the time.
You're right. It for sure does shift all the time. So who can respond to what Ellie said? Any thoughts on what Ellie just said? Yeah,
I
Stephanie.
think your experiences definitely do give you a paradigm, but it's not like what it should be based off of. I feel like it's like naturally gonna happen, but maybe based on like things that we find are true and unchanging, like the Torah or certain values that we find can make us like rework them to the way we want.
No, but I think in a way you're right also. Like I think like maybe with something recent, like after 9/11, I think a lot of people's perspective shift, like kind of paradigm shift, or maybe their political views or the way that they see their worlds and like how they interact with the rest of the world.
Or just like how bad people can really be.
Exactly.
Like,
It can
they're
really
like
shift.
see something like that and they're like shocked
Yeah.
because their paradigm like
Completely shattered.
but shattered, like that is possible for humans to do to each other.
It happens to be the conversion rate to Islam skyrocketed after 9/11. It like went totally up. Yeah. They are the fastest growing religion in the world. What you're saying is true.
I can tell you why. It makes sense within the context of like a paradigm.
So let's hear. Speak a bit louder.
Islam gains followers when people realize that they're powerful, like that they have big numbers. So when they can like disrupt the like strongest country in the world, it's like, oh, they must have something going for them. That's why you see people like from like very well-established countries like England and France, and people with degrees joining radical Islamic groups because they appear powerful, because they have these like terrorist attacks that shatter the fabric of reality.
Right, and shatter their entire way of seeing the world. So
I just thought of something that I don't really think, now that I've thought about it, I don't really think that your experiences are going to daily level change your paradigm. You know what I mean? Do you understand what I'm saying?
yes, that's what I was gonna ask. What's the problem with that?
Because they don't have to change all the time, constant.
What is the problem with our experiences formulating our paradigm? Yes, Nicole.
It's sort of like a contradiction, like the way you experience something is dependent on your paradigm.
Yeah.
So like each experience is unique based on what your paradigm already is.
Right. So then what should our paradigm be based on if we're talking about paradigm shift? Because they're saying experiences can shift our paradigm.
Right.
So what should be the foundation for our paradigm?
Self-understanding.
One moment, I just want to hear what you're saying. I'll get back to you.
Say like objective truth.
Objective truth. I think that's what we're going for. Which a lot of us said the same thing. I mean, Ellie is correct in the sense that our experiences do help formulate our paradigm, and they work one off of another, right? We can have shift. Not all paradigm shifts are for the better, right? Hitler, Yimach Shabam, his paradigm, he gave a paradigm shift to all of Nazi Germany, right? What is a perfect Aryan race? And they ran with that. But what should our paradigms be based off of? So our experiences do help shape that, and it works both ways. But another example is the Holocaust or 9/11. People's experiences changed the way that they thought, and their paradigm going into it affected their experience. We see with Viktor Frankl, we spoke about him here, right? What did he find? People experience the same suffering.
Yeah, we teach it different ways.
people's paradigm coming into it, people who had made meaning of it, people who had a philosophy about their pain. So he found that they had a greater chance of surviving, right? Of surviving. So what should our paradigms be based off of? We're skipping to the answer, which is off of unchanging principles. Principles, values, Torah, use whatever jargon you want. Look onto the sheet. We're saying, what could our paradigm be based off of? If your paradigm is based off of you're a money-centered person, okay? Your personal worth is determined by your net worth, right? Profit is your decision-making criteria. How do you make decisions? Do you know people like this, right? How do you make decisions? You make decisions based off what can I get out of it for me? How much money will I make from this, right? That car company that created this like amazing new car, spent years making it, and all of a sudden it came out and it busted 9 executives committed suicide in the company. Right? If your entire identification and your value capability, your decision-making faculties is based off of what you're worth, then that can shift. If I am giving over, are we all together? Yeah. If I am giving over my brain to society and experiences to formulate what my beliefs are, what my paradigm is, then it's constantly shifting. Do you believe in gay rights? Who believes that there should be gay marriage? We're not getting political, we're not getting into it, yes or no. Who believes there should be gay marriage? Who believes there shouldn't be gay marriage? Who didn't vote, right? But the point is, we're not getting to is it right or wrong. Not for the class today. I don't have an opinion. But who says it should be right? Who says it should be wrong? Who says? Should black people be slaves? But they thought it was totally normal in the 1700s and the 1500s. Who said? They thought you were crazy if you said it. Have you ever read Uncle Tom's Cabin? Amazing book. If you read about black slavery, it's like, how could you possibly believe that? Why wouldn't you believe that? Who's determining what's right? Who's determining what's wrong? You know, millions of Nazi soldiers murdered, you read Holocaust stories, children and women and innocent people, Jews and non-Jews, millions of non-Jews, right? They were murdered. Why? Who said it's right? Who said it's wrong? So a charismatic leader came up and decided and was able to convince you that this is the right thing to do, so you went with it? You hear where I'm going? So what is it based off of? If it's based off of even religion-centered, okay? Your security is based on religious action and the esteem in which you are held by those in authority or influence. In the religion, you find identity and security in religious labels and comparisons. What do you mean?
Like someone in ISIS would probably, I think, fall underneath that. But they're willing to literally kill, like, commit suicide over their religious beliefs.
You don't even have to go all the way there.
Why wouldn't a Jew also fall?
Right, I was going to say, that's like, you don't even have to go all the way there. Even Jews or Christians, anyone who their entire identity is just with the mitzvot, or just with the commands that they do, is only what is my status in my synagogue or my church. If that's their whole identity, so what is it based off of? Again, foundation, paradigm is the foundation. Then read the bottom. Nicole, do you want to read the bottom? Yeah, principle-centered.
Your security is based on principles that do not change. You are guided by a compass which enables you to see where you want to go and how you will get there. You interpret all of life's experiences in terms of opportunities for learning and contribution. You are aware and unrestricted by the attitudes, behaviors, and actions of others. You experience freedom. Your beliefs and behaviors are constant and consistent.
Okay, so in your own words, what does it mean to be principle-centered, which you all said that answer? What should our paradigms be based off? Ideally, it is based off of our experiences and many other things and what we were indoctrinated as children, but what should it be based off of? Morals, values, principles. Why? What did we just read?
These are constant without changing.
They're constant. They're not moving. We've given this example of a ship coming into the water. And as it's sailing, a voice comes, as it's sailing, they send a loudspeaker to a ship saying, incoming, move to the left. And the voice comes back saying, incoming, move to the right. And the voice is heard back from the boat that's sailing saying, incoming, if you don't move to the right, then we're going to crash, we're going to collide. And the voice comes back saying, I am a lighthouse, right? Lighthouse is that light in the water that shows where land is. What are principles? What are values? What is living a life and your paradigm based off of? And this is so powerful. Why is that so powerful? I'll give you an example, a real example that just happened. It's powerful because it's not changing. Doesn't mean that you never change your values. That changes. But you hope there's not radical shifts of like, oh my God, and now, right? Once you develop your principles. I'll give you an example that just happened. We're moving, so we're selling some of our furniture. A really funny story happened. This really sweet couple came to us Saturday night. We have this bedroom set. Beautiful, solid wood bedroom set, just doesn't fit into where we're moving. So we're selling it for really cheap because we just need to get rid of it. This really nice couple who, they were telling us their whole story. They like moved 4 times in 10 years. They have like 9 kids. It was just like really hard, and they just moved again, and they really liked it. They're like, wow, like this is the price. And like they measure with like a tape measure like 10 times, you know. And they were like so like really, and they were such nice people. They even knew my brother, and it was like a whole like Jewish geography. It was just like great. And they stayed for like half hour, and we were schmoozing. Okay, this was Saturday night. We're like great, and I said, okay, let's go home. We'll measure our home, and we'll get back to you. I didn't check my email that night, but they sent me an email right afterwards saying, okay, we want all 4 pieces. Okay. 8:45 a.m., I get a phone call from my father. Hi, good morning, how are you? Good morning, how are you? Did you sell that dresser yet? Funny you ask, I think so. He goes, okay, don't sell it, I want it. I'm like, really? He's like, how much do you sell it for? So I told the price, which I knew he thought would be ridiculous because we're selling it for really, really cheap. He's like, I'll give you double that, don't worry, don't sell it. So I'm like, no, really? We told him. He's like, no, I want it. Okay, so I'm like, this is an interesting story. So I spoke to my sister, not Gally, later on in the day, and I said, could you call Todd just to find out, like, is he trying to be nice with us, like trying to give us more money? Like, I really want to give it to this couple, like, you know, and I really want to give it. So she called me, she called me back, she's like, no, he really wants it. He needs a dresser, he really wants it. I'm like, okay, this is interesting, right? So what do you do? Let me ask you, what do you do?
You give it to the couple.
Who thinks you should give it to the couple?
Did you already say that you're selling it to them?
You raise your hand. You?
Depends on if you committed to them or not.
Yeah.
Who thinks you should give it to my father?
It's your father, so you might have to do
You just
that.
one
Out of respect?
And they want all 4, so then it'll be the set, and if you mess up the set, then they won't ever be able to find
Right, that was it also. My dad wanted, the set was only 2 pieces, they want 2 other pieces of furniture, but they said, we're only gonna take it for the set. They're not just gonna take 1 dresser, and my dad only wanted 1. And that was part of it, of like, they want both, and they were so excited. Who would say give it to my dad? So Aida says, you're the one that says give it to my dad. Okay, so it's great. What does it mean that your life is based on principles and unchanging values? Not what feels good in my heart. My dad doesn't need this dresser, okay? You can go to IKEA, buy a dresser. This family, you could tell, were like, oh, I'm getting this piece. So we called Das Torah. And we said, so what do you do? And it was very clear. Well, did you commit? Who said did you commit? Sam, you said, okay. A definite support said. So did you commit to them yet? Did they sign anything? Did you say I will give it to you? Did they give you the money yet? They asked us a few basic questions. They said, Lefit Torah, it's not theirs. Meaning, there was no obligation. Is it nice? Is my heart like, man, this is so uncomfortable? Yeah, but Lefit Torah, halachically, because we thought it's called Choshen Mishpah. We thought it was like a shaila question in the laws of like money, right, and finances. He's like, it's not a Choshen Mishpah question, you know, meaning there was no case to be discussed. There was no obligation to them. They came, they saw it, they liked it. I didn't get an email, they didn't confirm, we didn't sign anything. If I called my dad, and I told him the story, he would have said, just give it to this couple, okay? But my values are, like you said, Aida said, keep it abayim. Halacha d'oraisa is one of the 10 commandments, right? My father does everything for me. This is a nice couple. I would feel better inside if I gave it to them. What do my values say? And it's so powerful. Why is it so powerful? Because when your values are clear, not that I know the whole Torah, but I know that what are my values? The Torah. Choose whatever values you want, right? For me, it's the Torah. So if it's ever a question in life, where do I send my children to school? What should I do? What do I do here? It's a pretty sticky situation, and there are many situations like that. What do I do here? Well, what does my value say? And that's the lighthouse. That's not changing. The end of the story is, we called them. Oh wait, to make matters worse, I never see this man ever. I never met him in my life. I was jogging that day when this whole thing was happening, and I ran into him. He's like, "Hey, did you get our email?" This was like, okay, "Did you get our email? We won it." And he was like so excited. So I said, "Yeah, funny thing happened. I'm not sure what's gonna be, but like my dad," and you saw his face drop. He's a really sweet man, but you saw his face drop. He's like, "Oh, but you got, we sent it last night, like you," and he was trying to be so nice, like, "You saw, you got last." I'm like, "I know." Then he's like, I love Jews. He's like, "Do whatever the right thing is." But I felt his heart drop, So that was just to make matters worse. The end of the story is my dad doesn't know any of this took place unless he watches this video, right? Which he would be fine giving to him. My dad doesn't know it took place. He's gonna get the dresser. We called them. We explained it to them, like, "You understand, we're not flaky. This is what happened." They totally understood, like, not even, "It's your father," and we're giving him the other piece for free. That was like our, going about. We didn't have to. Halakhically, we didn't have to. We just felt like it's not pleasant, They were like so excited. So we're giving this other really expensive, nice piece for free. Why, really, you're doing me a favor. Who's going to buy a half a piece anyways, half a set anyway, just do it. And that's how it ended up. Right? I'm sure you can think of examples from your life of, what do I do here? What does halakha say? And everyone has their own set of what's the norm and what's not, okay? What's the norm and what's not? But that can easily be swayed depending on who's the leader of your country, where you live, who your friends are. So what is it based on? And that's what we're working on. We're working on what should it be based on? Principles that are unchanging. And then whenever a question comes up, is this right or is this wrong? You have an answer. And Torah, by the way, does not mean black and white, right? I'm sure we all know that. It doesn't mean like these are the laws, there's no changing it. There are laws, but which is why it says, Aseh lecha rav, make for yourself a rav, not just someone who has a lot of information, right? But someone who knows you, because everyone needs to be treated according to, right? For some people, no, you should not be keeping Shabbos now, right? For other people, do what, right? Everyone? Okay, any questions on paradigms, paradigm shifts, or can we go on? Ready to go on? Okay.